Orphaned sisters arrive at a farm asking for work, and the owner discovers something thrilling. Forced to work by their cruel uncle, who threatened to send them to an orphanage, they risked everything and ran away with nothing but the clothes on their backs and pure fear as their only companion. But when they found refuge on the farm of a tough and solitary woman, an old medal that one of them wore around her neck revealed a secret that had been buried for 20 years. And that afternoon of sheer anguish and rain turned into the start of a revelation that would unite 3 lonely souls and unleash the most powerful justice. If you want to know what fate had in store for them, subscribe now so you don't miss moving stories like this one, and tell us which city you're listening from today. We love reading your comments. Now let's begin. The silence in Uncle Mario's house was not peaceful. It was a heavy, thick silence that seemed to swallow sounds and dreams. For 9-year-old Isabella and her 7-year-old sister Clara, silence was the sound of fear. 6 months earlier, their mother's laughter had filled every corner of the little house that was their home. Now all that remained was the echo of that absence, a wound that time refused to heal. Uncle's house was not a home. It was a cold cage with invisible bars made of pure terror and uncertainty. The smell of mold and cheap beer filled the air, a constant scent that had replaced their mother's aroma of cornbread and clean laundry. Isabella watched her little sister curled up on a thin, worn mattress on the floor of the tiny room they shared. Clara's dry cough echoed off the bare walls, a weak sound that broke Isabella's heart like shattered glass. "Mum, why did you leave us here?" she thought, with a knot in her throat so tight it kept her from breathing. "You promised you'd always take care of us." And then the promise she made to herself every night, like a desperate prayer. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll take care of her, I swear." As soon as the sun rose on the horizon, painting the sky pale grey and orange, the bedroom door creaked open horribly. Mario's pot-bellied silhouette filled the doorway, blocking the little light that dared to enter. He didn't need to say anything. His mere presence signaled a storm. "Wake up," his voice rasped like a growl. "Laziness doesn't pay the bills." Clara shrank under the thin blanket, but Isabella was already on her feet, tense. She had learned quickly to anticipate, to be the first to obey, to try to calm the rage that always simmered under her uncle's skin. That morning, the argument came earlier. Seated at the wobbly kitchen table with its crooked leg, Mario tossed them 2 pieces of stale, rock-hard bread. Isabella's stomach growled with hunger, but Clara's turned. The little girl looked at the bread with her big sad eyes and whispered, "I can't eat it, Isa. It's too hard." Mario heard her, his small, cruel eyes fixed on Clara. "What did you say?" he shouted, slamming the table and making the tin plates rattle. "You think this is a hotel. You think you can be picky." Isabella, with a protective movement that had become pure instinct, positioned herself slightly in front of Clara. "She didn't mean anything, Uncle. She's just coughing a lot." Mario let out a dry, humorless laugh. He stood up, his shadow engulfing the 2 girls. "I didn't ask for this," he said, each word a stone hurled at them. "Your mother left and dumped you on my doorstep. You're a burden, an expensive burden." He leaned in, his face red and his sour breath invading their space. "Got it? If you want a roof over your heads and this food," he spat the word with contempt, "you're going to have to pay for it." The threat hung in the air, cold and sharp. Pay for it? How? Isabella was only 9. What could she do? Her uncle's solution was as vile as he was. He sent them to the village square to sell the few flowers that still grew in the abandoned garden of their old home. "People feel sorry for orphans," he said with a twisted smile. "Use that." And so began the hellish routine. Every day before dawn, the sisters walked to the square with freezing hands, clutching small bunches of daisies and marigolds. Isabella forced a smile for passers-by, her voice barely a whisper as she offered the flowers. Clara, frail and pale, stayed by her side, clinging to her dress, with their mother's silver medal hidden under her blouse collar, their only remaining treasure. Sometimes people bought from them, moved by the sight of two such young, sad little girls. One kind lady once gave them a coin and a sweet roll, which they ate in secret before returning home, afraid their uncle would take it too. At the end of the first day, Isabella returned with a fistful of coins, her heart pounding with a mix of pride and hope. Maybe, just maybe, this would be enough. She held out her hand to Mario, the coins gleaming under the kitchen's dim light. He snatched them without looking at her face, counted them one by one, and his expression darkened. "This?" he scoffed, tossing the coins onto the table. "This isn't even enough for a beer." The flicker of hope in Isabella's chest died, replaced by the familiar chill of despair. He stood and headed for the door. Before leaving for the corner bar, he turned back, delivering the final blow. "Listen up, both of you. The social worker came by the other day. I told her I was taking good care of you, but if you don't bring in more money, if you keep being useless mouths to feed—" He paused dramatically, savoring the terror growing in their eyes. "I'll tell her I can't handle you anymore, and she'll come for you. You know where they take kids with no parents, right? The orphanage." The orphanage. The word echoed in Isabella's head like a death sentence. She had heard horrific stories about that place, hungry children, cruel punishments, and worst of all, the promise that siblings were always separated. The image of being torn from her fragile little Clara, leaving her alone in that place. No, Isabella wouldn't allow it. What would you do in her place? What strength would you find when the only person you've sworn to protect is threatened with being ripped from your arms? That night, fear was a physical companion. It sat with them at the table as they ate their hard bread in silence. It lay beside them on the thin mattress, stealing the little warmth their bodies generated. Isabella hugged Clara tightly, feeling her sister's ribs under the thin fabric. Clara trembled, not just from cold, but from the terror of her uncle's words. "They're going to separate us, Isa," Clara whispered faintly. "No," Isabella replied, with a certainty she didn't feel. "Never. I won't let them." "But how?" her mind screamed. "How can I fight an adult? The world? I'm just a kid." The next day, while selling flowers near the market, a seed of hope planted itself in her desperate heart. Two women with shopping baskets chatted animatedly. Isabella, sitting on the cold sidewalk, pretended not to listen, but her ears caught every word. "Did you hear? Old Alma at Finca La Nube is looking for help with the coffee harvest. Her foreman got sick." "Doña Alma," the other replied in surprise. "But she's so grumpy. They say she hasn't smiled in 20 years, since her daughter ran away." "Grumpy or not, she pays well and on time," the first woman said. "A day's work there is worth 3 here in town, but you have to be tough. She fires anyone who slacks off without a second thought." Finca La Nube. The name rang like a spell in Isabella's ears. The farm sat high on the hill, about 10 kilometers from town, a vast property surrounded by stone walls, almost like a castle. Everyone knew the owner's reputation: reclusive, bitter, but fair with pay. She was the richest person in the region, and sometimes hired day laborers right at the gates. A crazy, impossible idea began forming in Isabella's mind. What if they went there? What if they asked for work? What was worse, facing a grumpy woman or the constant terror of their uncle and the orphanage threat? The answer was clear. Anything was better than being separated from Clara. It was their only chance, their last hope. The narrator, closely following these innocent souls' journey, wonders, is it courage or desperation that drives a child to walk into the unknown seeking salvation? Perhaps they are the same when you've nothing left to lose. That night, after Uncle Mario took the few coins they'd earned and slammed the door on his way out, Isabella approached Clara. Her sister slept restlessly, her breathing wheezing in her chest. Isabella's heart ached seeing her so fragile, so unprotected. Finca la Nube. It was a huge risk for two little girls, but it was the only path she could see. Carefully, so as not to wake her, Isabella tucked Clara's blanket around her. She kissed her forehead, feeling the feverish skin under her lips. She looked out the dusty window at the dark silhouette of the hill where the farm stood, a sleeping giant against the starry sky. She had to try, for them, for the promise to their mother, for the medal Clara guarded like the last piece of love in the world. The hook, dear listener, isn't what happens next, but the decision that changes everything. It's not about reaching the destination, but the courage to take the first step into the dark path. Isabella, at 9 years old, with the weight of the world on her small shoulders, had made her choice. The slavery would end. Hope, however fragile, had to be sought. She leaned down and whispered in her sleeping sister's ear, a promise sealed in the cold room's darkness, one that would lead her and us into the unknown. Tomorrow, Clara, her voice broke with the decision born of pure necessity. Tomorrow, we're leaving here. We're going to Finca la Nube, and everything will change. I promise. The darkness before dawn was their accomplice. Isabella woke Clara with a gentle touch on the shoulder, finger to her lips for silence. No words were needed. The fear in Clara's eyes and the grim determination on Isabella's face said it all. In a silent dance rehearsed by terror, they put on their warmest clothes, still far too thin for the cold seeping through the walls. They had nothing to take, no bag, no bundle with bread, just their skinny bodies and the courage born of having no other choice. Clara instinctively clutched her chest, feeling the familiar cold outline of their mother's medal. It was her armor. Leaving the house was the first test. Every creak of the wooden floor sounded like a scream. Every loose board an alarm. Uncle Mario's room was at the end of the hall, his heavy snores ironically the music allowing their escape. They passed his door holding their breath, small shadows slipping toward freedom. The front door, with its rusted lock, was the final obstacle. Isabella turned it slowly, her heart pounding against her ribs, until the latch clicked like an explosion in the house's silence. They were out. The dirt road out of town was deserted, swallowed by morning fog. The wind chilled them to the bone and made little Clara cough, a stubborn, throat-tearing cough. Isabella took off her own worn, thin sweater and draped it over her sister's shoulders. "No, Isa, you'll be cold," Clara whispered, teeth chattering. "I'm the oldest." "I'm not cold," Isabella lied, her voice brave despite the shiver running down her spine. "Be strong for her. Be her rock. Mum would want that." The 10 kilometers to Finca La Nuba stretched like an endless path. For two girls with short legs and empty stomachs, it was a true odyssey. The sun rose, turning the fog golden, but brought no warmth, only light to reveal how alone they were. Stones hurt their worn shoe soles, road dust clung to their tear-streaked cheeks. Clara began limping around the 5th kilometer. "I can't go on, Isa. I'm hungry." Isabella's heart broke. Hunger was a constant pain, a creature living inside them. "We're almost there," she said, pointing to the distant hill crowned by dark trees. "See? Finca La Nube is up there. When we arrive, we'll get work, and I'll buy you warm bread with butter. Remember how Mom used to spread butter on bread?" The memory brought a small sparkle to Clara's eyes. She nodded, and the promise of buttered bread seemed to give her strength to continue. They walked hand in hand, one tiny hope pulling the other through an indifferent world. What would you do if you saw two girls like this on the road? The narrator asks your heart. Would you stop or speed up out of fear of getting involved in others' suffering? Finally, after what felt like a lifetime, they reached the gates of Finca La Nube, far more impressive up close, tall black wrought iron with spiked tops, like the entrance to a dark fairy tale castle. Beyond, a long gravel path led to a grand colonial house with a wide balcony and once white walls. Everything spoke of wealth and time, a history they didn't know. The girls stood small and frightened, peering through the bars. How to call? What to say? Fear threatened to paralyze them. The walk had exhausted them, and the absurdity of their plan hit hard. Maybe Uncle was right. They were just a burden. Then a figure appeared on the house balcony, a tall woman with grey hair tied in a tight bun, dressed in a dark, practical dress. She walked firmly toward the gate, her face hard as the surrounding stones. It was Doña Alma. She stopped a few meters from the bars, eagle-sharp eyes examining the two ragged figures. A frown of annoyance creased her brow. "What is this?" Her voice was strong, with no trace of kindness, the voice of someone used to giving orders and being obeyed. "Has the circus come to town? What do you want here?" Isabella felt Clara hide behind her. Instinct screamed to run from this terrifying woman and immense house. But Uncle Mario's cruel face and orphanage threat flashed in her mind. There was nowhere to run. This was the end of the road. Gathering every drop of courage left, Isabella stepped forward, chin up though her body trembled. Her voice came out weak, a thread against the morning silence. We don't want charity, ma'am." Alma raised an eyebrow. "Oh? Then what do you want? Get out of here. I don't give handouts, and I certainly don't have time for lazy girls at my gate." The word lazy hit Isabella like a slap. She wasn't lazy. She was a worker, her sister's protector. The injustice sparked courage over fear. She stepped closer, voice firmer, born from desperation. "We want work," she said, meeting the woman's eyes directly. "We'll clean anything, carry anything. We just want a job. You pay at the end of the day, right?" Doña Alma fell silent, a long, uncomfortable silence. She was truly surprised. In all her years, workers had come to her gates, strong men, desperate women, but never two little girls alone, with frightened yet dignified eyes, asking for work, not charity. This wasn't normal. An alarm went off in her mind. Where were their parents? Who would be cruel enough to send such small children job hunting? A cold, uncomfortable suspicion formed. She trusted no one. The world had taught her that long ago. Maybe it was a trick to lower her guard. But looking at Isabella's thin, dirty face and the fierce determination in those big, dark eyes, she saw something she hadn't in years. An unbreakable spirit. She glanced at Clara peeking from behind her sister, pale and sickly, clutching her blouse collar protectively. Alma felt something stir. A detective's curiosity, a need to solve this troubling puzzle. She wouldn't help out of kindness. She believed kindness was a weakness ripped from her heart 20 years ago. She'd do it to uncover the truth, to unmask the monster undoubtedly behind this scene. "Fine," Alma said at last, voice still cold and calculating. The heavy key turning in the gate lock echoed like thunder. She opened it just a crack, enough for the girls to enter. "I want to see how this ends." She led them down the gravel path, her long strides forcing their short, quick ones to keep up. They passed the house and headed to the back, where barns and service areas stood. The smell of earth, manure, and animals filled the air. Alma stopped before a large chicken coop, loud with clucking and pungent odor. "Start here," she said, pointing inside the filth. "I want everything clean, floor swept, nests with fresh straw, waterers and feeders washed." She pointed to a pump and tools. "That's what you need." She crossed her arms, gaze piercing. "I'll pay at day's end, if the work is done right." The hidden threat was clear. If not, she'd send them away empty-handed. Hope and fear battled in Isabella's heart as she eyed the awful task. It was dirty, heavy work, but it was work, an opportunity. They'd crossed the gate, separating them from the world they'd fled. But seeing Doña Alma's expressionless face, a woman carved from ice, Isabella understood the real test wasn't cleaning a coop. It was surviving her. The gate closed behind them, leaving the sisters alone in new territory under their implacable judge's watchful eye, with the scent of salvation and failure mixed in the air. Doña Alma's investigation had begun, and Isabella and Clara's trial by fire was about to start. The coop's interior assaulted the senses. Thick ammonia and chicken droppings, stench-burning eyes, floor covered in dirty straw, cobwebs hanging like old curtains. For a moment, the task's enormity nearly paralyzed Isabella. Clara whimpered in disgust and fear behind her. But desperation is an efficient boss. Isabella looked at her sister's pale, frightened face, and resolve surged like a wave. They couldn't fail. Not here. Not now. "It's okay, Clara," she said, voice steadier than she felt. "It's like cleaning our old yard, remember? We just need a plan." Like a little general, Isabella organized her two-person army. She grabbed a shovel nearly her size and tackled scraping the floor. She showed Clara how to use a smaller broom to pile debris. They worked in focused silence, broken only by Clara's cough and indignant clucking from chickens eyeing the invasion suspiciously. From her balcony, Doña Alma watched, expecting tears, complaints, the laziness she associated with weakness. Instead, what she saw perplexed her. The girls worked with necessity-born efficiency, no wasted movement. The older one handled the heaviest parts. The frail younger scrubbed feeders with fierce concentration until metal shone. Alma frowned. Something was off. Their resilience, enduring filthy work without complaint. This wasn't normal. It was endurance learned the hardest way. Who taught them to work like this? Or rather, who forced them, she thought, her detective curiosity sharpening. She sat in her rocking chair not just to supervise, but to understand. By midday, sun beat down, sweat mixing with dust and grime on their faces. Constant hunger now gnawed painfully. They paused briefly, sharing pump water, a simple, fresh drink tasting like heaven. Then Alma's voice cut the air. "Stop! Come here!" They exchanged frightened glances. Was this when she'd send them away? saying the work wasn't good enough. Hearts in throats, they followed her to the back kitchen, clean, spacious, smelling of burning wood, and something delicious making stomachs growl louder. Without a word, Alma filled 2 clay bowls with steaming soup, chicken chunks, potatoes, carrots in thick golden broth, and added cornbread slices. "Eat," was all she said, voice still gruff, as if angry at her own kindness. The girls sat, staring at the food like a mirage. Heaven, real warmth, the first proper meal in months. Hands still trembling from fatigue, they took spoons. Isabella eyed Clara silently. Slow down. They ate with polite desperation, savoring each spoonful. More than food, it was kindness, warmth, a taste of a lost world. Alma watched, arms crossed, expression unreadable, but she saw everything. How they held spoons, grateful glances per bite. Street-raised kids didn't have such manners. Someone had loved and taught them. Mid-spoonful, Clara's cough attacked, deep, chest-tearing, leaving her breathless and red-faced. She dropped the spoon, doubled in pain. Isabella rushed to pat her back. "Breathe, Clara, deep breaths." Doña Alma moved, almost automatic, an instinct older than her bitterness. "That girl's sick," she said, scolding no one in particular. She turned to a dusty old cabinet, opening it to release scents of dried herbs and thyme. She took a dark glass bottle, poured thick liquid onto a spoon, and offered it to Clara. "Take this, guaco syrup with honey. My grandmother made it." Clara looked to Isabella for permission. Isabella nodded gratefully. Clara grimaced at the strong, sweet taste. Alma's unexpected maternal gesture hung comfortingly, a mother's act emerging unbidden from under 20 years of ice. Alma seemed uncomfortable with herself and walked away, muttering about careless girls. After soup warmed their tired bodies, Alma gave them 10 more minutes before work. On the balcony, Isabella's eyes drew to the living room through a large window, floor-to-ceiling bookshelf packed with leather-bound, gold-lettered books. For Isabella, who loved reading and hadn't seen a book since Mom died, it was treasure, a whole world behind glass. She approached the window, eyes shining with longing. Alma noticed the devotion, fingers touching cold glass as if feeling stories through it. A sigh of annoyance escaped her. Another sign these girls weren't ordinary. Not just labor, but children with minds and dreams. Muttering about wasted time, Alma entered the room, hands scanning spines, thick philosophy and romance, stopping at a lower shelf. Her hand hesitated over a small, faded blue book. A sharp, painful memory hit. A blonde girl laughing on the rug, reading those pages. She pulled it out abruptly and returned to the balcony, handing it to Isabella, without eye contact. The book smelled of dust and lost childhood. "Here," she growled to hide threatening emotion. "But don't stop working. Read when tasks are done, if you finish." Isabella took it like glass. Cover title, The Princess and the Firefly. Fingers traced gold letters. A whispered, "Thank you," but her eyes said the rest. The afternoon flew with hard work, but something changed. Hot soup in stomachs, syrup easing Clara's cough, book in Isabella's hands. Small anchors of hope. Finca la Nube, morning's haunted castle, began feeling like sanctuary. Alma observed, viewpoint shifting. Detective curiosity gave way to uncomfortable concern. She noticed details anger had hidden. Yellowish bruise on Isabella's arm, Clara flinching at loud noises, deep fear in eyes not vanishing, even when smiling together. These weren't hard life marks. They were abuse marks. Investigation turned dangerously like affection. The image of these fiercely loyal little ones working together in the now clean coop, began crumbling walls around her heart. No longer just distrustful boss, she was witness. Witnessing such suffering demanded choice. Ignore or act. As sunset orange-purple, work done. Co-op impeccable. Fresh straw, golden carpet, feeders gleaming, happy clucks. Exhausted, grimy Isabella and Clara glowed with pride. They'd succeeded. That day, dream. Temporary paradise. Hunger soothed, illness tended, mind fed. Under severe woman's rule, Finca La Nube became safest place. But sunsets for all, night brings shadows. Perfect day ending. Soup warmth, syrup relief, book promise. Enough to warm them in awaiting darkness. Temporary paradise, about to close gates. Harsh reality at long dirt road's end. Fall would be brutal. Sun bid farewell to Finca La Nube, tinting clouds fire and honey. Evening fresh air turned night's cold breath. Isabella and Clara on balcony, bodies aching, but spirits warmed by unfamiliar pride. They eyed cleaned coop, small smile on Isabella's lips. They'd done it. Doña Alma approached, expression morning severe. She inspected closely, critical eyes missing nothing. Walked coop, fingers over clean feeders, checked nest straw. Girls held breath. One disapproval sign could undo day's paradise. Finally, Alma turned. Long silence then. Acceptable. For them, acceptable sounded like highest praise. They almost smiled, but held under intimidating gaze. Alma pulled cloth pouch from apron, opened, counted crumpled bills, placed in Isabella's hand, closing in awe. More money than she'd ever held. Enough for weeks of bread. Maybe to appease Uncle Mario. "Thank you, Ma'am," Isabella said, voice gratitude trembling. Alma nodded, eyes fixed on older girl's face, wanting to say more, but words stuck. Finally, "Come back tomorrow, same time." Pause, intensified gaze. "And I want to know who takes care of you." Question hung heavy, dangerous, truth too risky, lie impossible. Isabella swallowed, nodded wordlessly. Doña Alma escorted to Grand Iron Gate. Turning key, overwhelming loss gripped girls. Paradise closing, kitchen warmth, soup taste, silent safety promise, all staying inside bars. No longer farm girls. Again, two lone orphans road's edge. Gate closed metallic screech final, echoing hearts. Silent goodbye blow. Momentarily stood gazing house, now dark silhouette against twilight. Dream over. Reality's cold, sharper than before. Farm day refuge, now distant, unattainable dream. Return journey, different torment. Worked all day bodies, protested steps. Darkness fell fast. Night sounds, owl hoot, wind rustled leaves, threatening. Morning's hope path now cage return trail. Isabella gripped Clara's hand tightly, other clutching money and blue cover book. Days only tangible treasures. "Think she liked our work, Isa?" Clara asked, voice small in night's vastness. "She said acceptable," Isabella replied. "For her, that's probably a yes." Clara sighed. Her soup was delicious, and the syrup almost stopped my cough. Yes, Isabella thought, warmth, soup, care. How explain to Uncle Mario? How return to cold after tasting sun? Finca La Nube, now cruel mirror, reflecting life misery. Each step away a step toward hell. If this overcoming story touched your heart, imagine what those souls felt walking light to darkness, knowing exactly what monster awaited. Village's faint lights appeared. Fear coiled Isabella's stomach. They slowed, delaying inevitable. Each meter, small torture. Turning corner, house light on, he was home, waiting. They opened door carefully, but he stood like predator sensing prey. Uncle Mario in living room, shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. No questions about day or tiredness. Eyes straight to to Isabella's clenched fist. "Well?" he growled. "Where is it? Don't tell me empty-handed." Heart racing, Isabella extended crumpled bills. He snatched greedily, eyes widening at amount, smoothed, counted twice. Ugly, satisfied grin. "Ah, good. Looks like the useless ones finally served a purpose." Folded money, pocketed. Their sweat-earned cash vanished instantly. His gaze fell on book Isabella clutched to chest. "What's that?" "Nothing, uncle. Just an old book the farm lady gave me." He extended hand. "Give it. Might be worth something." "No." Isabella's instinctive, desperate cry. "She gave it to me. It's worthless. Just for reading." Momentarily seemed he'd take by force, but contempt won over greed. "Books," he sneered. "Reading doesn't fill bellies. Do something useful and go to kitchen. Your bread's on table." He turned, blasting TV volume. Soon familiar beer bottle opening, first of many, paid by their work. In cold, dark kitchen, 2 dry bread slices awaited on tin plate. They sat silent, exhaustion heavy like lead cloak. Hunger lingered, appetite killed by injustice. Chewing throat-scratching bread, they heard Uncle's TV comedy laughs. His joy, torture. Finkel Anoob's hot soup and welcoming silence seemed another life, other people. Contrast so brutal, it broke Isabella's heart. Doña Alma's fleeting kindness only highlighted permanent darkness. Later in room, curled under thin blanket for warmth, Clara slept fast from exhaustion. But Isabella stayed awake, throat knot choking breath. Blue cover book in hands. Object from better world. The Princess and the Firefly. Opened first page under dirty windows, faint moonlight. Letters danced, but focus impossible. Each living room laugh knife in chest. Each uncle beer swig stolen effort, hope. Books dust old paper smell, mixed rooms mold abandoned scent. One day, just one peace day. Now night arrived, hell hotter. Deeper precisely because they'd glimpsed heaven. Silent tear rolled Isabella's cheek, smudging page ink. Closed book, hugged sleeping sister tightly. Self-promise to protect seemed cruel lie. How protect from that monster? How survive routine? Daily return darkness, bringing light only for him to devour. Hook isn't opening door, but closing one. Devastating realization. One good day doesn't ease suffering. It makes unbearable. Hope turned poison, night just beginning. Following week taught world's 2 faces. For Isabella and Clara, life split. Sun ruled daylight, moon ruled night darkness. Day, finca la nube, light. Began hopeful walk, prior night's fear gradually replaced by arrival excitement. Day, occasional fresh coffee scent, escaping Doña Alma's kitchen. Midday hot soup routine, warming belly and soul. Day, Doña Alma's raspy voice slowly losing edge. Still severe, but eyes lingered longer. Not just supervise, observe. Alma's investigation continued differently. No direct questions. Instead, teaching. This is basil, showing garden. Scent repels pests. Or that red-chested bird is a woodpecker, pointing tree. Small lessons, knowledge gifts feeding Isabella's curious mind. Each lesson, Alma learned more. Isabella quick, smart, absorbing like sponge. Clara fragile but gentle with animals, calming even feistiest hen. One afternoon, Alma saw Isabella resting, reading The Princess and the Firefly, with total focus. Approached silently. "Where did you learn to read so well?" Isabella looked up, scared caught resting. "My mum taught me. She was a teacher." Word was hung painful finality. First direct mom mention. Alma felt chest pang. Echo own loss. Nodded, walked away. But info another puzzle piece. But night. Uncle Mario's darkness. Return walk tired bodies. Sweat earned money pocket hidden. Daily door confrontation. bills snatched, greedily counted. Night. Beer cigarette smell, clinging clothes hair. Blasting TV drowning, scared kitchen whispers. Night. Hard bread. Midday soup, no longer fooling hunger. Thin blanket, no longer warming cold. Finca la nube made home, hell worse. Now knowing safety, its absence open wound. Routine whip, relief day followed salt wound night. Daily tension in Clara grew. She barely spoke at farm, but began clinging Doña Alma's skirt, near leaving time. Terrified, animal-sensing predator. Then Friday came. Morning clear sky, clouded heavy grey midday. Sadness fell over farm. After lunch, first cold-spaced raindrops. Late afternoon, finishing stable clean. Drizzle became storm. Rain pounding tin roof like 1,000 drums. Wind howling bending trees. They knew dirt road, now slippery mud river. Doña Alma approached shaded balcony, week's pay in hand. Rain thick grey curtain isolating them. Work done, Alma said, voice competing storm roar. Extended money to Isabella. As Isabella reached breaking point, Clara, shivering, cold fear, suddenly surged soul deep, hugged Alma's legs desperately, burying face in thick dress fabric. No, cry muffled fabric rain, but balcony thunder for 3. I don't want to go. Please, Mom, don't send us back, please. Isabella froze horror. Clara, let go. What are you doing? Apologize. Tried pull sister, panic rising throat. They'd be fired, crossed unspoken line. But Clara clung tighter, tiny body violent sobs. Then destiny's sealing words, terrified whisper, Uncle Mario is bad, he's bad. Doña Alma looked down at clinking head, didn't push away, didn't yell, just stood. For first time, Isabella saw beyond hardness, deep pain expression. Slowly, fearing break child, Alma placed hand on Clara's hair. Unexpected tenderness finally broke Isabella. Her built fortress strength, responsibility crumbled instantly. Held back months, tears, swallowed words, stifled courage, all flooded, overwhelming wave. It's true, she said, voice broken, tears free dirty face. Couldn't stop. All true, ma'am. He keeps all our money, everything you pay us. Confession uncontrolled, desperate. Gives us old bread, calls us burden. Says if not enough money, he'll send us orphanage. Says they'll separate us. I'll never see my sister again. Isabella knelt balcony, exhaustion, desperation winning. Hid face hands, cried, for Mom, hunger, fear, no longer holding strong. What breaks child's spirit? What thaws heart? On balcony amid storm, both questions answered. Alma's heart, believed frozen 20 years, day-daughter Eleanor left, not just thawed, shattered. Girl's raw, real pain pierced 2 decades bitterness, striking lost motherhood center. Investigation over, puzzle cruel, monstrous image, demanding action, not observation. Looked kneeling, sobbing Isabella, still clinging Clara. Icy fury, clear, powerful years unfelt, rushed veins. Protector's fury, lioness defending cubs. Knelt, stiff, unaccustomed joints, to Isabella's level. Free hand lifted chin, forcing eye contact. Alma's gaze, no pity, steel, promise. Enough, low almost whisper, but cut storm like knife. World seemed stop, rain, wind, fear, all fell before single word. It's over, rose, pulling Clara with, keeping close, looked dark, rode back hell. You're not going back there, declared each syllable, forged new, terrible decision. Not today, not ever. Looked tear-rain wet faces, lifting hope, incredulity. Tonight you sleep here. Pause, final destiny wait declaration. I'll fix this, I'll adopt you. Promise hung balcony, storm powerful. Adoption, barely dared dream word. Not one night roof. Forever home. Hook not coming threat. Overwhelming salvation promise. War declared. Protection begun. Rainy, dark night. Unexpected family about to born. Adopt you, floated rain-soaked balcony. Promise island, desperation ocean. For Isabella Clara, words so huge impossible believe, barely grasp. Home, family, fear end. Could be real. Doña Alma gave no doubt time. Decision taken moved river-breaking dam force. Come, voice firm but responsibility claimed weight. Guided girls, one each side, into house. Crossing threshold another world. Warm, dry air, beeswax, old wood scent, lamp golden glow, dark furniture, thick rugs, muffling steps, storm outside. After uncle's cold, dark, Finca Lanube, fairy tale palace, like Isabella's book. Alma led wide, creaking wooden stairs, history staying sound, upstairs guest room door. Room spotless, untouched, awaiting never-coming visitors. Large iron bed, colourful patchwork quilt, small wood dresser, tall mirror wardrobe. For floor mattress girls, ultimate luxury. You can stay here tonight, Alma said, practical side hiding inner emotion storm. I'll get dry clothes, towels. As Alma left, girls stood room middle, afraid touch anything. Clara's outburst, Isabella's desperate confession, Alma's incredible promise, left stunned, floating events sea. Clara's reaction unfinished, fear adrenaline gave way, pure emotional exhaustion, tremors. Began crying again, not desperate force, quiet tired sobs, scared own courage, unknown next. Alma returned towels, stacked 2 oversized cotton nightgowns, found Clara curled bedfoot, trembling, sobbing. Isabella beside, vainly comforting, thawing heart pained. Knew what child needed. Woman no embraced 20 years, knelt stiffly floor. Placed clothes bed, turned trembling small figure. There, my girl, voice softer intended. It's over. No one will hurt you. You're safe now. Unthinking, bitterness unslain, instinct guided. Arms out, pulled Clara hug. Clumsy, almost robotic first, but desperately real small body nestled hers. Clara clung, wet face, buried shoulder. Alma felt each sob, trembling breath. Holding fragile child. Something settled place. And then felt it. Comforting hand on Clara's back, pressed small hard round under wet, thin blouse. Curiosity not. What? Stone. Lost button. Odd detail mismatch. Gently pulled Clara, enough see. What is this, my girl? My girl, escaped surprising naturalness. Saw thin dark leather cord neck, finger pulled, silver medal pendant. Worn, shine dulled time, constant small hands touch. Surface designs nearly erased, smooth river stone. Isabella, seeing family soul treasure, Alma's hands, hurried explained child devotion voice. It's our mum's. Clara never takes it off. Hearing our mum, strange chill ran Alma. Nothing storm-related. Object terribly familiar. Palm weight, side clasp, tiny notch. Always steady hands, trembled. Impossible. Coincidence, thought. But fingers disobeyed. Eyes, seen harvests, ups, downs, droughts, storms. Fixed silver piece holding universe secrets. Thumb muscle memory, found near invisible clasp. Small click shot like room silence. Medal opened. Time stopped. Inside darkened silver surface. Fine elegant script engraved. Years worn hard read. But Alma burned soul moment. To my Eleanor, always yours, Mom. Eleanor. Name exploded mind. Toppling last wall. Last heart ice. Eleanor. Easy laugh, rebellious spirit, daughter left 20 years ago. Note unbroken silence. Medal 16th, birthday gift. Special ordered, eternal love. Mother-daughter promise. Throat deep sob escaped. Shock pain, enormous, unbearable joy. Lifted eyes medal, looked 2 girls. Confused, scared faces, watching unknowing woman's transformation. But Alma no longer saw lone orphans. Unknown fog cleared, revealing miraculous, shocking truth. Breathless. Looking own history faces. Isabella's dark, determined eyes. Elena fire, Clara's delicate chin, young self-traits fragility. Their mom, Elena, not destiny-brought strangers, granddaughters, own blood. Universe cruel mysterious mercy took daughter, now 2 decades later, returning pieces. Adoption decision, seemed furious charity, revealed blood call, not rescuing strangers, unknowingly self-rescuing. Mom, Isabella's scared whisper. You okay? Doña Alma couldn't answer. Believed forever dried tears rolled cheeks. Not sadness, recognition, reunion, 20-year self-heart exile end. Knelt, open medal trembling hand, gazing granddaughters' faces. Lioness not just found cubs protect, found own blood. Hell would know no fury, like grandmother discovering world tried destroy greatest treasure. Next morning dawned quiet clean, storm-washed world, fresh air, new promise. For Isabella Clara, promise waking, not cold floor mattress, but soft, warm bed, comfortable patchwork, quilt weight, moment silence comfort so strange, Isabella thought, dreaming. But doctor softly opened, Doña Alma entered, not usual severe, new fierce tenderness eyes. Good morning, girls, voice still hoarse, no rasp. I made breakfast. Breakfast, no dry bread, scrambled eggs, warm milk, fresh bread, homemade blackberry jam. Ate respectful silence, grand kitchen table, while Alma moved house low, decided phone calls. Something completely changed. Finca La Nube no longer workplace, breath by breath, becoming refuge. Peace, however, meant break. Around 10 a.m., violent sound tore tranquility. Old smoking car sped gravel path, screech stopped house front, door slammed. Out stormed Uncle Mario, furious red-faced rage prior night beer, marched locked gates, violently shook, metal screeching. Open this gate, old witch, shouted voice echoing property. Where are they? I know they're here. Girls in living room ran window, pale terror. Nightmare found them. Cage come fetch birds. But Doña Alma appeared top stairs. No fear, icy calm posture, straight back taller, powerful. Stay here, softly ordered girls, no disobedience room voice. I'll handle this. Descended stairs, walked front door, opened, stepped balcony, stood arms crossed, gazing Mario gate ranting, no longer town, crazy old bitter recluse. Balcony morning sun transformed, long dormant. Matriarch, Finca La Nube owner full power. Sensing watched, Mario stopped shaking bars, faced her hatred burning eyes. Finally, where my nieces? You stole them. My legal responsibility. Alma let finish, silence more intimidating any shout. When he paused breath, she replied, clear-cutting, voice distance-piercing. They're nothing of yours. What? He incredulous shouted. Their mom died. Only relative. My burden. My problem. Only burden here your greed, Alma replied, step forward. Your problem just starting. Descended balcony steps, slowly walked gravel path gate, stopping inches bars, iron cold separated. Close, gaze raptor-like, fearless, lethal. They're my granddaughters, Alma said, drama-free, unquestionable universe fact. Raised hand, silver medal shone morning sun between fingers, open inscription visible. Their mother was Eleanor, my daughter. Mario's rage-clouded mind took second process, looked medal Alma face, saw undeniable truth, terrifying understanding, abused not any orphans, messed region most powerful woman's blood. That can't be, stammered bravado's smoke dissipating. And you, Alma continued, steel-cold voice, about discover consequences messing mine. As words order, 2 cars silently approached path, stopped behind Mario's blocking exit. 1 suited man briefcase descended, Alma's lawyer. Other 2 uniformed police approached Mario rear. Noticed too late. Lawyer spoke first, calm professional. Mario Vargas, Dr. Ramirez, Alma Reyes attorney. Formally charged stealing death pension belonging minors Isabella Clara Reyes. Fraud child exploitation. Police advanced handcuffs belt. Mr. Vargas, arrested. Right remains silent. Reality punch hit. Looked Alma police. Face rage red, panic white. Arrested. Mistake. My family. Caring for them. You called them burden. Alma deepest contempt voice. Stole their money, food, childhood. Not family. Thief now, prisoner. Mario handcuffed. Fury pathetic plea. Unheard. Loaded patrol car. Broken man. Tiny tyranny kingdom. Shattered single morning. Justice total. Not idea. Person sirens. Handcuffs dragging monster light. Patrol dust raising away. Alma stood moment watching dark chapter end. Turned. House door hugged Isabella Clara. Seen all. Faces fear, relief, awe mix. Seen lioness protect cubs. Seen grandmother. Alma walked back. Face rage, ice softening. 20 years mourning loneliness weight. Finally shoulders lifted. Stood before girls. First since daughter left. Doña Alma smiled. Not big, real transformed face. Erasing bitterness lines. Revealing always under mother. Extended hands. One each girl. They took without hesitation. Let's go home, she said. Finca, 2 decades daughter lost memory tomb, suddenly life-filled. Girls' timid laughs echoed silence-only halls. Guest room became theirs. Books time, toys filled. Hot soup scent, kitchen permanent. World labeled burden useless, discarded girls found true worth. Not just survivors, heirs not moneyland, but love crossed 20 years find them. Always grandmothers, most precious treasure. Pain cycle broken,